about to go racing once again for the Tweeks Yokohama Classic Stock Cats Championship. Ooh, was there a little bit of creeping there from the pole position driver, number 87, Stuart Place, as the lights went out. He's made the best of the starts. Chris Deere has slotted in behind him. Robert Campbell is dropping back down the order like a stone, so possibly some kind of gear selection issue for him, as he is swamped by pretty much the whole pack as they head up towards Rich's Corner for the first time. It's Paul Thorpe there in third position, Pete Morgan, the championship leader, trying to go into fourth spot as they all head around Rich's Corner for the first time. But you could see there the yellow 205 of Robert Campbell. He had lost probably, well, he dropped about halfway down the field. There is the 46 car, though, of Chris Deere, similar liveried car, chasing after Stuart Place as it's side by side between the two XR2s, the carburetted XR2s for third and fourth. Paul Thorpe at the moment just fending off Pete Morgan. He'll be carrying a bit more success ballast still.
Yeah, but not quite as much as yesterday. I think that would have taken a bit of ballast out, but he's got past Paul Thorpe. Those two cars very close together when they were side by side out of the hairpin. Titch Kelsel's gained a load of position from the back of the grid, so watch out for him. He was quick yesterday. But the two Peugeots are going away, Stuart Place and Chris Deere. Pete Morgan's third. We said he's braking extremely late into the hairpin. See if he gets around the corner. Paul Thorpe is there in fourth position. Which, yeah, he's still fourth actually, if anything. Morgan gained time and he's right on now with his championship contender Chris Deere. He looks down the inside of Chris Deere there into Hamilton. That didn't work out. You've got side-by-side action a bit further back between Finn Groom and Paul Brock. They're leaning on one another as well, so we'll see how that all pays off when they get to the next corner, which they do so now. Finn Groom on the inside, Paul Brock on the outside, and there's Titch Kelser behind, who started from the back. Yeah, so he has made excellent progress already during this course. There's the mini, I think, of Pete Osgoby there with its mini, the Nova of Pete Osgoby with its rear bumper just a little bit askew there. Fingroom has made good that place. He's got ahead now of number 26 Paul Brock, but Titch Kelsel's going to go past both of them. It's like a rocket ship down the Bentley Straight. Titch Kelsel's going to get the place, I think, but there's the race leader Stuart Place there, number 87. He's made quite a decent fist of this first lap, hasn't he? Because he's a long way clear of Chris Deere in second, Pete Morgan in third, Ben Bateman in fourth, and Paul Thorpe's lost ground quite a bit because the next car through as well is that the Andy Philpott's car, number 6 is, and Paul Thorpe behind him was in third, now 6th. Yeah, that's right. So here's Deere, Morgan and Bateman. They're absolutely together as they turn their way here through Coram, and Chris Deere probably brakes a bit earlier than the two cars behind him, but he manages to get through the corner well, so that means they'll have a good exit, and some real battles going on behind as well. Absolutely right. So out of Murray's they all come in while the leader Stuart Place goes across the line to complete his first lap, and he's nearly 2 seconds ahead of Chris Deere, number 46 in second place. Pete Morgan third, and then Ben Bateman is in fourth position. Andy Philpott's fifth and Paul Thorpe sixth. Titch Kelser was up to 10th from the back of the grid, so that was an excellent start for him. And Robert Campbell, who made that poor start, he dropped to 11th place on the opening lap. Side by side between Morgan and Bateman here as they head down into the hairpin. A little bit of needle between these two after something that went on track yesterday, so we'll see how this race progresses between the two of them. Chris Deere still ahead. Pete Morgan, though, would like to get past his championship rival, I would think, and they're absolutely together as they head through Palmer and accelerate down the straight past the Tyrrell's restaurant and up towards the Agostini hairpin. This is all allowing Stuart Place to go, pull away. Here comes Pete Morgan sideways on the brakes up the inside of Chris Deere, and he moves ahead then into second place, but he's wide on the exit, so Deere will fight back on the inside, the former Metro champ, and he backs well out of it, doesn't he? I don't think he wanted to go side by side with Pete Morgan there into Hamilton. No, Pete Morgan, very experienced in stock cars. He's raced minis as well down the years. He's a very experienced driver, but as both of these are. Ben Bateman with them, though, much less experienced. He only made his debut last year at Donington Park, retiring from his first race before he got to Redgate, and then winning the third race of the weekend, I think it was, in that particular case. So he's already tasted some success. He's there in the number 93 car, Ben Bateman, the 21-year-old from Coventry. He's an electrician by occupation, and it's a home-built Nova in his case. Chris Deere got alongside Pete Morgan, but again Morgan had the line into the Brundle corner there, so he stayed ahead. Same, Ben Bateman, the youngster, going with these two, Morgan and Deere, who are ahead. You've got three different types of car here: the Ford Fiesta XR2, the Peugeot 205,
and the Vauxhall Nova all battling for second position, but it's championship leader Pete Morgan who is ahead in the car that won the championship last year in the hands of his son Ryan, and he breaks really late into Murray's and he gets through the corner on the curves of the exit, but I think that shouldn't affect him too much. So we've had 5 minutes of racing as we complete 2 laps with Stuart Place out front.
We certainly do. And it's a good old lead that he's got, but then it's very tight for second, as you can see over the line, absolutely together. Chris Deere to the outside of Pete Morgan as they head up towards the right-hand ridges, the first corner of the 3rd lap of the race. Morgan with the inside line, Deere trying to stick around the outside, but he can't make it work. He's going to switch back to the inside. Bateman also spies an opportunity here. He's got himself alongside Deere, I think, on the run down to Wilson. Can he move up into 3rd position? Possibly he can. Let's wait and see how that works out. Certainly no one overshooting the hairpin this time. No, they've all stayed in the same order, but really good fight between these three as Deere's mounting another attack.
It's Kelsall 10th, by the way, from the back of the grid, so his progress now getting a little bit harder to gain any more position. Stuart Place has done a 2:27.0, which is only a sort of 3 seconds slower than yesterday, I think. Here we go, side by side again between Morgan and Deere. So this is what the championship battle is all about this year, these two drivers. And it's a good exit from Chris Deere. Now, a lap ago, he wasn't comfortable with going up the inside of Pete Morgan into Hamilton. Is he going to be a little bit braver this time? Or again, is he... Yes, he's keeping kind of there on the inside, but the outside line was better for Pete Morgan. He stays ahead.
Yeah, he certainly does. So, good fight there for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. It's Andy Philpotts, number 6. And 5th position as Morgan makes a mistake there at Oggies. He drops a wheel over the curb, and that's allowed Chris Deere to go back through on the inside. Can Ben Bateman capitalise at Williams and go through as well? Yes, he can. So just that little mistake from Pete Morgan has cost him 2 positions, but now he'll be able to pick up the toe from Chris Deere and Ben Bateman as they go along the Bentley Straight on lap 3.
Yeah, that's right. Stuart Place well in front, well clear. 4 seconds at the previous lap was the gap. I think it's probably more than that now with that changing going on for 2nd position. Now Chris Deere ahead, and he brought Ben Bateman with him. Pete Morgan, and now they're all being caught by Andy Philpotts, returning this weekend to Classic Stock Hatch. Pete Morgan up the inside of Ben Bateman here. It's going to be very tight. They're leaning on one another, I think, aren't they? And again, as they head up towards corner, Andy Philpotts might pass both of them.
He is. Andy Philpotts there in the red Fiesta XR2i, so that's the injection car. The two ahead of him, though, still absolutely leaning on one another. Morgan on the inside line through Coram, and he's got the place back, so he's back ahead of Bateman. But as these have been battling, it has brought Andy Philpotts and Paul Thorpe back into the equation as well. I think it's that Stuart Place continue to extend his lead, though. It was 3.87 seconds at the end of lap 2. He's found another 3 seconds on that lap. It's a 2:26.52, so only about 2.5 seconds slower than he was yesterday. He leads by nearly 7 seconds.
So for 3rd, there's a whole load of cars that might get involved in this. You've got Martin Kayser and Jason Wood side by side. Martin Rogers and Titch Kelsall also involved in that as they head into Ritchie's. Again, Ben Bateman trying to get the better of Pete Morgan, but Andy Philpotts and Paul Thorpe are certainly there now. Andy Philpotts, such an experienced driver. He was really successful, wasn't he? And that big accident at Donington Park that sort of dropped him back a little bit. But it's great to see him back here towards the front again.
Yeah, and getting really stuck in here with Ben Bateman, Paul Thorpe in the XR2 going with them as well. It's good to see Paul back on the circuit this season. He spent a few years in the paddock supporting the other drivers, acting as the Formula representative and joining us in the commentary box quite often as well. But good to see Paul back out on track where he enjoys it. And a good scrap going on here behind. 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th right together. That's number 88, Martin Kayser. Then you've got Jason Wood in 41. And side by side at the moment, you've got Titch Kelsall 89 and Martin Rogers 39. Rogers off onto the grass on the exit of Agostini. But still, somehow, he's still beside Titch Kelsall, who does finally get the move sealed through Hamilton. So Kelsall now up to 9th place.
For a moment there, I thought he was going fast on the grass and the others were on the circuit, but it wasn't quite that way for him. Of course, he's got to be a little bit careful at the next corner. His tyres aren't a little bit dirty, but he's got through Oggies, although has lost a few more car lengths to those in front. So we work lap number 4. There'll be one more to go at the end of this one, so a 5-lap race here for the Classic Stock Hatches. Now Pete Morgan has got away from Ben Bateman as Ben Bateman tries to fend off the attentions of Andy Philpotts as they turn their way here into the left-hander at Brundle, then braking into Nelson, the right-handed element of the S's there. So Andy Philpotts yet to make that move. He started down there in 8th on the grid, up into 5th position as they work their way up towards Coram Curve. Ford Fiesta XR2i there, so that is 4 different types of car inside the top 5.
Yes, fantastic. Isn't the variety that you have in this championship is something that you so very rarely see these days. These cars from the late 1980s and early 1990s predominantly. As we watch the battle a bit further back, that's James Hazelhurst coming through. He's in 12th place. Race winner at Silverstone a few seasons ago, but he's never really looked like doing that again, I don't think, has he, from what I can remember. Last lap board, as you can see, is being shown to all the drivers as they go through there. Robert Campbell, that was, just flashing through picture. There's Hazelhurst, and he's got Darren Bassingthwaite, another Peugeot 205 driver, just behind him. There's Chris Deere. Now, he was 1.5 seconds ahead of Pete Morgan going on to this final lap. Do we reckon, Josh, that we might get a change?
Well, Morgan was fractionally quicker on the last lap as he didn't have to defend anymore from Ben Bateman, because the lap before that was a bit lively, wasn't it, between those two? But no disaster occurred for either driver on that occasion. So, therefore, now Pete Morgan's attention's again set in front to try and go after Chris Deere. Potentially might need another lap though to do that. They were both quicker than Stuart Place, but I wonder Stuart Place again knows he's got this big gap, so there's no point overdriving the car at this stage of the race. So the gap from first to second is the same as the gap from second to 7th. So big is the lead that Stuart Place has had here. There he is, the race leader coming up toward Williams.
Yep, he is. So about halfway around his final lap of the race. Comfortable advantage, more than 6 seconds it was at the start of the lap. There is Deere. I think just he's getting a little bit closer, but possibly not fast enough a rate to challenge before the end. Just see Pete Osgood going through in the background there in 18th position in his Nova. And Terry Deere, well, he's not going to be lapped by his son today. He's in 20th position in the Metro. There's his son, Chris Deere, going through shot. And Ben Bateman and it looks like this battle has sort of settled down a little bit in this last lap or so. Josh is they're just making their way through the bomb hole.
Yeah, that's right. No, shouldn't be any challenges. There's only that first 6 on this this final lap. But for Stuart Place, it's local circuit, turns his way up towards Murray for the final time. In the season he's running this weekend. It's been a very successful one.
Certainly has. It's going to be 2 wins from the weekend for Stuart Place in the Demon Tweeks Yokohama Classic Stock Cats Championship. Checkered flag goes out, arm out of the car, and he takes the checkered flag. So that's a good weekend's work. An even more resounding victory today than it was yesterday when he won by 1.7 seconds. Today, more than 5. As he did back off a little bit on the final lap. Ben Bateman on the last lap rated the best lap at 2:25.94. So lap times continuing to improve. We're almost back to full dry lap times, to be honest with you now. Chris Deere, though, 46 was second. Number 8, Pete Morgan, third. Fourth place was number 93, Ben Bateman. Fifth to number 6, Andy Philpotts. Sixth to number 40, Paul Thorpe. 7th was 41, Jason Wood in the Nova. 8th from the back of the grid, Titch Carlton, number 89, good drive from him in the Fiesta. 9th, number 88, Martin Case, another XR2i. And Martin Rogers in the Peugeot 205, number 39, rounded out the top 10. But a bit of sorting out in the early laps of that race there, Josh, but Stuart Place really was a class apart from the rest.
Yeah, he's got a gap, hadn't he, after about 3 corners of the race, and particularly those first couple of laps are really impressive, where he pulled a big margin. For the championship, again, only 2 points pulled back by Chris Deere, just like yesterday, so the gap will be 15 points if we go into the second half of the season, really, for Classic Stock Hatch, where we will go to Brands Hatch in August, Cadwell Park in September, then Mallory Park to round off the season in October for this championship. But the Classic Stock Hatch cars, you can see they're making their way into Parc Fermé. Like Ian said, pretty much a dry circuit now, so that will be good information, I should think, for the next competitors who will be out for our final race before lunch here at Snetterton, and we'll obviously see how the then the afternoon goes, whether there's more weather to coming in. Looking actually out the commentary box window again, there's a few spots of rain on our windows, but whether that's going to develop into much, we will wait and see. So top 3 into Parc Fermé. Kieran McGinley is waiting down there, and once the drivers get out their cars, Stuart Place, Chris Deere and Pete Morgan, we will be able to grab a word, I'm sure, with Kieran and those 3 drivers.
Yep, indeed. We'll head down there very shortly to hear from them. So this one race to go before the lunch break now, the Formula V, and then we'll be back underway at around about 1:05 with the Freaky Parts Sports Specialist Championship, our first race after the lunch break. But we can head down to the pit lane now, and Kieran.
Yes, down here now in Parc Ferme, and I'm delighted to be joined by Stuart Place. Stuart, a bit of a different weather condition out there this time around, but how did you find it out there?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. The first couple of laps was a little bit slippery offline, but nothing major. Had a couple of moments, but luckily we changed the car before we went out just to accommodate a little bit of damp. Then it started to spit when we were in Parc Ferme, and we were thinking, had we done the right thing? But as we pulled out, it was definitely the right thing.
You were saying it's you're hotter in the cockpit today than you were yesterday.
Yeah, it's really humid today, ever so humid. But no, it's hot in there most days, but today it just seems really hot. I don't know whether maybe I'm working harder.
Maybe. Well, you were pulling up much further gaps. I mean, it was drying up towards the end. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, definitely. A lot faster towards the end, and luckily for me, Pete and Chris were having a battle. So while they were battling, I just kept my head down and kept pedalling, and then towards the end I was thinking, right, I've got a good gap, don't break the car and just keep going.
Well, you didn't, and you're here. So congratulations, Stuart, on the victory today.
Thank you very much.
Let's have a look and see if we can find our second place driver in Chris Deere. Let's see, I got this muddled up yesterday. I'm not going to get it muddled up today. Chris Deere here, second place. Chris, you had a really good battle there with Pete in the early stages.
Yeah, we had a battle. Stuart was gone, so we decided just to keep an eye behind us and see if we could get Pete backed into the pack a bit to try and get some people to attack him, to take some points off him. But he's a wily old, what's the word? So we say fox. So yeah, we came second again. The cars are still working. We're ready for Brands. So yeah, hopefully at Brands we can go one place better and then go one place less.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, fair assessment of the conditions drying up towards the end there?
Yeah, there's a few greasy parts, but mostly driving like a dry line, just send it. We were on intermediate tyres. You had to look at the sky and think what could happen.
Absolutely, Chris. Congratulations on second place. Unfortunately, we're out of time, so I'm going to have to show it straight back to the grid then. So let's join for the Martins Group Formula V Championship.